Up, we're going to go with Memphis versus Clemson. This game went to overtime. Zach, I know you follow Memphis and you have for a while. If you saw a little bit of this game, what kind of caught your eye in this overtime road victory for Memphis?
Yeah, no, I got to catch a good amount of this game because it was an early game.
Yeah.
Before I headed to the crosstown shootout, but it was a weird game. It was like a sleepy environment, which I guess it's break or maybe I don't know what Clemson's situation is, but it wasn't a very highly attended game. It was a slow, weird kind of start. I don't even know how to really describe it, but yeah, it was. I think in general, like it was a strange game. But this is the thing about Memphis; they get kind of blown out by Arkansas State, who was okay, like not great. And then they come around and go on the road, and they're hitting all these. Got like Tyrese Hunter, he hit like 7 or 8 threes.
Yes.
Like, so they've got the talent, but and they can really shoot it when they're on, but they just got to be on. That's their problem. Yeah, I mean, they're one of the best 3-point shooting teams in the country, which, if you are, like, you can beat anybody. And they're not horrific defensively. They're not great, but they're not terrible. They've got size. They're usually solid rebounding. Not solid, but like fine, average, give or take. But shout out our boy Victor Locken for Clemson. Yeah. I'm happy for him. He's doing great. Nice double, like 23 and 11, I think here. Yeah. Pull it up. Still turning the ball over, but it was a weird game. I don't take too much either side out of it. Games like these happen. They're goofy.
Right.
Definitely a much needed win for Memphis, though. They've been. I mean, they've gotten some nice wins, but taking a loss like that to Arkansas State when you play in a conference like the AAC is not a great one. So they really needed something to kind of wash that out, and they got what they needed. So I'm not going to go too deep into this one, but much needed win for Memphis and nothing like detrimental for Clemson. Still think they're solid.
Absolutely. This is relatively surface level, but I think that's some great analysis, especially with the environment. It was, I believe, an 11 o'clock start time in Clemson, which is probably a little unusual for them. During break, so student section really wasn't there. There were little children who occupied majority of the student section. So they made a lot of noise and kind of kept the crowd in it a little bit. But, I saw Brad Brownell several times, like trying to pump up the crowd. They didn't seem very into it for parts of the game, which isn't fault to the Clemson fan base at all. But I'd say that maybe played a little bit of a role. It wasn't a true, home environment.
I want to add something quickly. So Arkansas State, I had a little bit of their game on earlier today on the side. They're playing UAB and we're getting absolutely waxed.
Wow.
And they were down by 27 and 25 at the half. I remember I like put it away, and I just looked at this now on Twitter. Sorry. They came all the way back and went to OT and won the game at UAB. Wow. So maybe that Arkansas State loss isn't as hard.
Maybe so. Yeah. The broadcaster said that Penny Hardaway just threw away the Arkansas State tape, and they didn't watch any of it at all. Which at first I was like, okay, maybe that's not the best idea, but it was nice. They played free out there. Obviously, Tyrese Hunter was letting it fly from deep, which was really solid. Colby Rogers, the Wichita State transfer, also had a great game. Finished with 22 points and hit some big shots down the stretch to kind of force the game to overtime. Their big men weren't great, I would say, nor was PJ Haggerty, only 3 for 10 from the field. But, they did enough. They made shots and were able to rebound pretty well against Shefflin, who's the top rebounder in the nation. Held him to 6 boards and only 17 points. Locken was great, which is kind of concerning at Clemson. Like, you get a really good Victor Locken game, and you still, come up a little bit short. But I wouldn't be too worried if I were Clemson, really. I don't think there's much that goes into this game. Like, these games like these happen. Would like to see a little bit less hero ball from Chase Hunter down the stretch. I mean, taking a 35-footer instead of going at the basket or getting a shot a little bit closer to win the game was a little confusing to me. He was trying to be like the Damian Lillard shot, which just isn't really a great high percentage look. But I think both teams are going to be okay. But great win for Memphis. Props to the Tiger fans out there.